Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you've been enjoying my videos, finding them useful and that they've been beneficial. If you're not subscribed, please hit that like, share and subscribe on the way, and it means a lot to me when you do. Now today, well not just today, but recently I've been having a lot of trouble with my high-low switch in the car, and I've traced it back through a whole heap of electrical gremlins. You've probably seen my video on the fusible link. This is one of the gremlins that I've been chasing, and it helped a little bit, but it hasn't fixed the problem. So I believe it is the switch down, well, it's actually in the back here, and as you can see, I've already taken the covers off. So today I'm going to be replacing that. Now I did see someone somewhere on a forum said they replaced it with one from a Toyota Corolla of about the same year. So I got one. I happened to have somebody who had a Toyota Corolla. It was been busted the back end, but I thought, look, I'll get it out and I'll try. And I pulled it out of the Corolla, and I found out it's actually completely different plug. The person that I saw on the internet rewired the plug and used it. But I'll grab the one I got. I got this one out of another 80 series landcruiser wreck from a wrecker. And you can see that the Corolla one is actually a completely different size. The bolt holes do not line up for holding it there. We've got 3 locators on the horn, 2 locators on the horn. It's a completely different unit. So unfortunately couldn't use a Toyota Corolla. So I've got this one from a wrecker, and that's the switch there that I need. Now, it's easy, excuse me, it's easier if we just replace the whole unit, take this one on, take this one off. You can actually get in there and clean the contacts. Now, if you've watched my other videos, if you're aware, this is my daily driver car, so it's really awkward if I take that out and then something goes wrong. So I'm going for a straight swap. I can play with this one later. I'm not going to throw it out. It's going to go in the shed, and I'm going to keep it as an extra part. So anyway, let's get into it. The first thing that you're going to have to do is to take this cover off, which I already have off, but I'm going to show you. It clips together like that. Now, up inside, and I've got one here to show you, is a little screw. There's a screw there and a screw there. Now when you're doing this, be very careful with these. They're getting old, they're getting brittle. As you can see, mine's being gooed and gummed up here and everything to try and keep this one running. So be very careful with them. You will need to use your steering adjustment lever that comes up and down. That bit goes up on top there, and then this bit's underneath, like so. Now to get it off, and I've got the 3 screws, they're sort of held captive in there in the glue. 1, 2, 3. So I undo 1, 2 first, disconnect that, then you can pull it down on your steering lever. You can unclip it, take that bit out, and then you can unscrew your 3 screws, and it just sits up in there. So it's not super hard to get off. Now, once you've got that off, I'm going to have to get out of the car now. Actually, I'm not going to have to get out of the car, because first, and for some reason my steering lock is jammed completely. There it is. Okay, now I want to start the car, and it's going to be a lot easier to turn the wheels. I want to make sure that my steering level is sitting flat with the line of the car. It's going to make it a lot easier later on. Now, in the back of your steering wheel, just here, there is a screw, which I have already taken out. Then up the top of your steering wheel cover. Now, if you have a model that has airbags, Be extremely careful doing this. I don't like touching airbags. They scare me to death. Having one go off in your face in a car because you've accidentally poked it with a screwdriver. So up in behind the steering wheel, there's two little clips. Now as it comes off, disconnect the horn wire, and so there's the little clip there that you've got to, I just used a little screwdriver and squeezed it in, and a little clip there, and your screw goes up into that, and that's what holds your cover on. Now you can see that you have your horn wire. Make sure when you reconnect it all that you put that horn wire back onto that, because otherwise you're going to have no horn. Okay, so the next thing is to remove that nut, and this is going to get a little bit interesting because I have a camera in front of me and it may bump. Now could be quite tight. Yeah, there, I'll bump the camera, sorry about that. Could be quite tight. Once it's unlocked, it's fairly easy to unscrew, just like that. Now I'm going to set that up on my dash to keep it safe. Now to get your steering wheel off, they're usually pretty tight. I have made up this little steering wheel remover. Pretty simple little tool, a little bit wild on my welds here, but I was in a bit of a rush when I made this. These nuts here are just to captivate it so that it can't fall. Then I've got it's just a plate steel and a nut in the middle with a point. So you can see the point goes down into there, and these screws are threaded, line up with these. So as you screw these in, they come captive like that, and then you push that and it pulls the steering wheel off. Let's give it a go. Now it helps if we line them up. Okay, so you can see that that is nice and firm on there. Our two bolts, those captive bolts, I'll just wind them back up a little bit. We don't need them there. Okay, so now what we do, we undo this. We're actually tightening this one up, and you'll hear a pop. That little pop there, sometimes you may have to go a few more turns than that. We can now take these off because our steering wheel is loose and free. That enables it to come on. Now at this point you could take it off with this on, but I want to show you something. You can actually just whack the back of the steering wheel sometimes. If they're free they will come off, but pulling it doesn't work because you end up pulling it askew and not quite right. Now you could at this point put a mark on here, and it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to do that. You can just do it with a little tool like this at the top of your nut there. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but I've got two lines. That's just going to help me reline the steering wheel back up. So it comes off. Now as I go back on, the teeth are very fine, so as long as I line those marks up, I'm going to be going straight down the road. So we take our steering wheel off. We're at our assembly that we want to replace. So this one is slightly different. I'm replacing it with the newer model that has the intermittent timing. The older models don't. So you've got screws, you've got one here. There's 4 of them. They should come off fairly easy. One there. So we now have our unit loose and free. The other screws will come off out later. Okay, so that brings us down here. We've got it loose up the top here, but we've got to get this panel off. And you can see that I've got some things that need fixing and wires and that I haven't got around to doing from previous owners. Now you will have a screw here to take this panel off. And unless your car, well, if your car has like mine, there's extra screws people have put in over the years, previous owners, to hold bits on. And it's really good if they will come out. Okay, now I'm going to sit them down here for now. It's good if you take that out, just gets it out of your way. There's one up here. There's one up here. Then there's one here. Now the way this is wired in, your car probably won't have this. My turbo timer was screwed across by a previous owner. And there is a screw there, but it's rattled out of my car. Now I've still got the screw here. Now what happens is you also need to undo your hand throttle. Notice that my knob has come off and I haven't replaced it. Okay, if we unscrew that, that allows that to pop back through. Now what you do is just a few little pops and shimmies and cracks. And this one really does need to come out. There it is, all the way out. Okay, so there's a clip here. There's clips up here that you need to just pop out and you can work like that. Now I'm just going to drop it down because we only need to get here to this point. So at this point, you need some sort of a lever, and it'll just pop off the locating pins. So it sits up like that, and with your screwdriver, you can just, let me move that camera back. It will just pop off like that. Okay, so don't lose that one. That's your hand throttle. You don't want to lose that. Okay, we're down under here and it's a little bit awkward for you to see. There's two clips. That one there's a little broken. That one's easy. You pop that and that one's going to be a bit like that. Okay, now just here we have a bend clip. Just bend it a little bit. That will come out like that. Okay, we've got that free, so that now can slide straight off like that. Now don't lose the screws. I've just tipped them out down onto my seat. That's our old unit, and as I said, the switch is in here. It does look very similar to this one here, which is the one from the Corolla. And if I pull this cover off, because on the Corolla it's very simple, it's a simple contact switch like that, and it just pops high beam, low beam. Now you can actually get in and clean the contacts if you pull it all apart. I'm not doing that today. I've just got a whole new unit to replace. That one's different. To get into the switch on this one, it's 4 screws, but the whole unit falls apart. So I might make a video on that later, how to pull that one apart. But for today, we have our nice second-hand one. It just slides on. We drop our screws back in. Now remember, they're just going into plastic, but they are going to get shaken and wobbled, so you want them firm but not super tight. Now, we're going to take this. It may be easier to plug it back in like so, here. Okay, then make sure you squash your clamp back up, then relocate your pins, pop them back on like so. There we have our new assembly on and ready to go. Okay, now we've got to put all this back together, all the big mess here. Now this is where you need to find that and make sure you poke it back out the hole, slide it inside, line up clip there, line up clip there, and you just need to make sure that everything goes in right. So you're going to get it back up under this one, little clip, and it's a little bit of a jiggle, and it sits back there like that. And what's happened is I've lost the hand throttle. I'll try and get that back through. Let's get a nut on that before okay, screws back in. Now there is one goes in there, remember, but I don't have it, so don't forget to put that screw in. And then this one here I've left till last because there's actually a bracket up in there that it needs to go in, and sometimes it can be a little bit awkward because the bracket can bend slightly. And I got it because it's tightening up. Now remember, when doing this bit, you're probably not going to have this or this mess of wires. As I said, previous owners, I can't blame them for my CB. I mounted that there like that. That's how I did it. I will fix these up one day as well. Put our fuse cover back on. Okay, we've got all our lower section back in, down here, all fixed up nice and neat. Now's the point, and I actually just flicked the car on, flicked the ignition on, did a check, make sure that everything worked before I'm putting anything else on. Now here's where it comes in handy. We line up our little notch with our little notch, and fingers crossed that is right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on, and I'm going to tighten it up. Now that I've tightened up the nut on my steering wheel, I'm not going to have any horn. I should have indicators, lights, but I'm going to take the car for a quick drive down the road. Not too far, because if you get caught driving around like this, you probably won't shine real brightly on you. It probably won't be a good idea. I'm going to take it for a quick drive down a straight road because I want to make sure that my steering wheel is tracking straight. I don't want to be driving down the road straight with my steering wheel like this. It's quite off-putting. So a quick drive on the road will ensure that it's straight. It is easy to adjust at this point because I have it off and open, The worst thing you want to do is put the steering wheel back on, put everything together, all the covers back on, take it out on the road and find out you're driving crooked. Go for a quick drive and I'll be back. So just on my drive, I found that even putting the scratch in it, I have not quite lined it up. I'm a tooth out. You can see it's sloped here, so I'm just going to pull it off, turn it slightly and go for a bit more of a drive. Okay, so I'm still crooked. I just thought I would mention that you don't always have to use the steering wheel puller. If you've only just put it on, sometimes a few bumps like that has loosened it enough and I can come off, go over a few. Now I'm nice and straight with that might be actually one too far. Okay, nice and straight, nice and straight, nice and straight out with my road. I'll go for a bit more of a drive and see how it is. When you are taking it for a drive, never drive with this nut not locked up on the car. The steering wheel can come off and you can lose control. Make sure at all times that steering nut is locked up when you are driving on the road. So there we go, back from the drive. I had to make a couple of other adjustments from the one that I showed you just to get it. I went too far one side, had to come back. So next thing is I'm going to put my horn back on. Make sure you clip that horn on nice and good. Locate up your two pins, one there, and then if you get them right, they just pop in, clip in like that. Horn works. We have the screw that goes up in the back of the horn, and it's a little awkward to do. It's only awkward because you've got to lie down. Now, as I said, to put this back on, be very careful. Be very careful doing this bit too. Any of the plastic in the 80s is now starting to get quite old and brittle. This one here has the glue and it's sort of captivating the little screws. I just got to be careful as I push it up that they don't pop out because I don't want to lose them. Now they go there, here and in the middle there, behind that. So you want to make sure that that cable is out of the way. Slide it in at the bottom. And the fun bit begins. As I said, this bit can be a little fiddly. I'm trying to line up the holes, but because it's all upside down, everything keeps dropping out. It may take you a little while to do it. As you probably just noticed, once one gets lined up, the rest all line up. Now, I'm going to drop it down and clip those together, put it back up, and then put my two screws in here. Now you'll see here it will separate as you try to push the screw up against it. Now I've dropped the other screw, so I'm going to have to find that. I'll be back in a sec. There it is. So there you have it. How to replace indicator or windscreen wiper assembly. If you've liked my videos, make sure you hit that like, share and subscribe. If you're not comfortable doing it, take it to someone and get it done. You're playing with your steering assembly, that you don't want something to go wrong there. But if you are comfortable working with tools, you can follow my video as an instructional guide and see how you go. Anyway guys, hope you've enjoyed the video. See you around on YouTube, see you out in the bush, make sure you come say hi. Get out there guys.